Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with Ask D.C Network number 6. Our first question comes from Dark Rebellion, asking, Hey DC Network, when are we going to see Young Justice Season 4? I honestly think it's probably going to be a little while longer until we hear anything about what's going on with Young Justice Season 4. I'd expect to hear something this summer at some Comic-Con convention, whether they hold it online or whatnot, most likely virtually since COVID's still going on, but I don't think this is coming out this year. I think at the absolute earliest, Young Justice Season 4 will come out in early 2022, but that's at the earliest. It honestly could potentially be a mid to late 2022 show, or even something that doesn't come out until early 2023. Although, I've got to say, if it does come out in early 2023, that's pretty rough. Dragon Ball Universe asks, Remember when Cartoon Network used to air a compilation of old shows on Friday nights? Do you think they'll go back to doing that again? Yeah, I do remember that, and I don't know if they will go back to it. The problem with what's happening now with Cartoonito and Cartoon Network, and now, of course, Adult Swim is going to be sticking around. The problem becomes that Cartoon Network's not going to be on as much as it used to be, obviously. It's not going to be on the entire day anymore. Rumor has it that it's going to start at 2 p.m. That is not confirmed at all. But if it does start that late, then what? We're going to have like 6 hours maybe of Cartoon Network, and that's it in a given day. So if that is the case, I honestly don't picture them airing reruns, just because there's straight up not a lot of time in the day when Cartoon Network is going to be on, because so much time is going to be occupied by Cartoonito, and so much time is going to be occupied by Adult Swim. So if it ends up being that only a third of the day is taken up by Cartoon Network, I would have to think that that time is going to be taken up by current ongoing shows. Juan Castillo asks, do you think it's a good idea for Cartoon Network to change its platform and make its network watchable for teens and adults, and not just for kids? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course Cartoon Network is targeted towards kids. That's their main demographic. So there are going to be some shows on the network that anybody above a certain age most likely won't like. But there should be content on there that's just good for people of all ages. It should just be quality shows like back in the day. I've said this in other videos, but I used to watch Ed and Eddie with older family members. They enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It can be enjoyed by people of all ages. Cartoon Network definitely needs to go back to having more shows like that. Like I said before, not every show is going to be meant for everyone, but they should have some shows that are going to be enjoyed by every single age demographic, no matter if you're 5 or if you're 55. PB asks, other than Cartoon Network, which do you prefer watching, Disney or Nick? That's kind of a tough question. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have a preference of one over the other. There are certain shows that I like from each, but pretty much currently, I don't watch anything that's currently on Nick or currently on Disney. I watch older shows like Gravity Falls, Sweet Life, some of the old episodes of Danny Phantom and stuff like that. But there's no particular show that I watch right now on Nick or Disney. But if I had to pick between the two, I honestly don't know. I kind of view them equally. Like, Cartoon Network is number one for me, and then Disney and Nick are tied for second. Romeo Goulborn asks, DC Network, will you be watching the new Ben 10 specials from Season 5 of the Reboot? I honestly don't know. I watched the Ben 10 versus the Universe movie. I have a video on that, actually, if you want to check it out. And in that video, I said I wasn't sure if I'd watch the specials that are coming for Season 5, because I didn't enjoy the Universe movie. I do not like the Reboot, but I'm not going to lie, the descriptions of these specials do pique my interest. Like Ben 10,000 coming back, awesome. Alien Extinction, Alien X is going to come back, and they said that there's going to be like a bunch of different Bens from different universes coming too, so there's a possibility we could even see the original Ben from the original continuity in that, so awesome. That's a pretty cool concept. And then also the Ben 10 Generator Rex special, they're bringing back Generator Rex, like that's really cool as well. So from a plot perspective, they do pique my interest, but I just know, as many times as I've watched the Reboot, I've seen the entire first season and I saw the Universe movie, every time I've watched it, I didn't really enjoy it, so I don't know. I might see it. If I do, then I will make a video on it. But yeah, I'm really not sure if I'm going to watch it or not. I haven't decided on that. Ola asks, do you think rebooting Ben 10 was a good idea from a financial perspective? Did the reboot successfully manage to introduce the franchise to a new audience and increase its revenue, or did it fail to reach new audiences and damage Ben 10's image for older fans and ruin the future of the franchise? This is actually a really, really interesting question, and it definitely piqued my interest when I saw it. I think that from a financial standpoint, do I think rebooting Ben 10 was a good idea? Yes and no. I don't think Ben 10 needed a reboot per se. I think they could have just continued the original continuity with the fifth iteration of it, and I think that would have done well as well. But the reason why they rebooted it in the first place is because toy sales during Omniverse started to decline. And so they wanted to basically get back to the younger market so that they could reinvigorate the toy sales. And from my knowledge, from what I've seen, that's been a success. I know the Ben 10 toys sell like crazy. A lot of them go for a lot of money sealed in box from the reboot on eBay. And I actually own a lot of the figures from the reboot. I don't think I've ever said this in a video, but I have a bunch of Ben 10 figures from the original shows, and I have some from the reboot as well. And I'm not gonna lie, the Ben 10 reboot figures are pretty nice quality wise. So I think from a financial standpoint, it makes sense. I understand why they did it. Do I agree with it? Listen, you're a business, you're trying to make the most money. I get that. But the latter half of your question, where you ask, did it fail to reach new audiences? I don't think so. But did it damage the image of Ben 10 for older fans? Yeah, I think it did in a way. I think that, the image of Ben 10 in the fan base right now is a lot of people don't like the reboot, right? A lot of people see the original continuity, and that's kind of the peak Ben 10, if you want to call it. But then, would it ruin the future of the franchise? I don't think necessarily. I mean, in all different mediums and with different IPs and whatnot, they have bad iterations. If you're around long enough, you're going to have a bad iteration. It's just inevitable because different things happen at networks. They want different things from their creators. At a given point, something bad is going to happen with your franchise. So I think that what comes next can dictate the future of the franchise. If they move away from the reboot and go for a more serious tone Ben 10, then I don't think the reboot ruined the franchise, but it really depends on what happens going forward. Alex74 asks, what do you think about how Cartoon Network is managing the network now, and what should they improve upon? I think it's a little early to discuss how I feel about how Cartoon Network is going to manage the network going forward. I think those announcements like Cartoonito and everything else that's going on, I think they need to take it to effect before I can truly judge them. But from a financial standpoint, from a business standpoint, I completely understand it. From a fan perspective who is not in the preschool market, I am not the happiest about it, but I understand completely why they're doing it. Jesse Man asks, since so many shows end up on HBO Max, do you think some of the failed Cartoon Network pilots could end up on the streaming service? I would never say never, but I feel like if Cartoon Network didn't pick them up in the first place, most likely they're not going to, unless if there's one show in particular that Tom Ashim is like, you know what, Christina Miller didn't like this show, it was pitched to her, or pitched to the network rather, when she was in charge, but I actually really like it, and if he reaches out to the creator and say, hey, you want to make that show, then yeah, sure. Could it happen? Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like if something wasn't greenlit and they rejected it, it's probably not going to get greenlit. Kareem asks, do you think the reboots are good? And if so, you think we should get one for a regular show? So, to break down your question, do I think reboots are good? That's kind of a loaded question. Inherently, by themselves, are reboots bad? No, but the problem with reboots is a lot of times, due to network meddling, they end up being completely different from what made the original great. And so that's why reboots are viewed very negatively upon different fan bases. Like, it really depends. And that's the kind of thing with reboots, too. It's kind of a little bit of a sketchy area to be getting involved with, because always the show is going to have kind of a nostalgia golden era in someone's mind. But then when you try to reboot that, and if you try to do something new, different, and whatever, which most of the time they do try to do something new, then people from the original aren't going to like it because it's going to be different from what they knew. So, and do I think we should get one of regular show, or can get one of regular show? Right now, no. In the future, maybe, but I think it's way, way, way too early for that, because regular show just ended, like 4 years ago, I want to say, or 3 years ago. The Mystery Quadrio asks, what do you think about Boomerang's night block? So, I believe that from 12 to 2 every night, Boomerang airs some old Cartoon Network classes from the 2000s period. And I honestly think it's kind of stupid to be airing it at that hour. Like, majority of your audience is sleeping from 12 to 2, so most people aren't even going to get to see the old classics that Boomerang was known for back in the day. I think it should be on at an earlier hour. If they want it, because I get why it's on at night. It's on at night because it's meant for older audiences, but if they want to make it for older audiences, make it at 10 o'clock instead, or make it at 9 o'clock. Don't make it at midnight, because, like, personally, me, I don't think I've ever seen Boomerang's night block from 12 to 2. I don't think I've ever seen that because I'm sleeping during that time. Regarding your second question, really quickly, I honestly don't know what I would cancel. I don't think there's a show in particular that I would rush to cancel on Cartoon Network. Mr. Moonman asks, is Cartoon Network starting to greenlit Galactic Kids Next Door? So I'm going to preface what I'm about to say by filling people in who don't know about the current situation. So basically, the creator of Kids Next Door, he re-uploaded the Galactic Kids Next Door video and he put 2021 in the title of it. So people are thinking that Galactic Kids Next Door was greenlit. I personally think that's a bit of a stretch. I think he was just re-uploading the video. Why is he re-uploading it? I don't know. I mean, I could re-upload a video and put something like 2021 in the title because it's a re-upload from 2021. I really don't think that means that it's coming. I think it's kind of grasping at straws, reading a little bit too deeply into it. Could it be in the works? I mean, yeah. I mean, I personally think that Galactic Kids Next Door is probably going to be something that ends up coming to HBO Max one day. But I don't think that him re-uploading the video means it's definitely coming. They're working on it now. The official Nature Boy asks, are you excited for Cartoon Network's 30th anniversary next year? Are they going to do anything for it? That's what it comes down to. I mean, as an anniversary itself, I think it's going to be something cool if they start to maybe make DVDs for older shows and start to sell them so we could get seasons 3 and 4 of Ed, Edd n Eddy and so on and so on. Same thing for Foster Home for Imaginary Friends and other shows as well that we never got DVDs to. It'd also be awesome to see the network get kind of some 30th anniversary bumpers that they could have on the channel and air reruns of the shows as well. But am I looking forward to it? No, not really, because I feel like they're probably going to do nothing about it. But I could be wrong. Tom Ashing's at the helm now. Maybe he's going to make a huge deal about the 30th anniversary. Julian asks, what are your opinions on Toonami? So I've actually never talked about Toonami on this channel before, I don't think. And I like Toonami. I think it's perfectly fine. I think the way they have it right now is good. I don't really watch it anymore, though, because the only shows I actually watched on it were Dragon Ball Super and Boruto, but Boruto stopped airing on Toonami, so I don't watch that anymore, and Super ended, so yeah, I pretty much never watch Toonami anymore. I know they have My Hero Academia on it, but I watch that through the Funimation app because it's ahead of Toonami in regards to when the episodes come out. Diego asks, are you hyped for Total Drama to come back? If not, out of all the shows Cartoon Network said they were going to add, what are you hyped for? So yeah, actually, out of everything they announced, I think Total Drama is the thing that I'm looking the most forward to. Not even joking when I say this, but when I saw it was announced, the theme song just popped right into my head and it was like stuck in my head for like 15-20 minutes. I am looking forward to seeing Total Drama come back. Other than that, I'm also looking forward to seeing the Gumball movie. Finally, we're going to see a conclusion to the amazing world of Gumball. Of course, Infinity Train as well. Whenever it comes out, I'm going to be on book 4 because Infinity Train is a fantastic show. But those 3 in particular, I am the most looking forward to. But number 1's definitely Total Drama. Dexter, the Nostalgia Toonster, asks, which Hanna-Barbera and/or Cartoon Network show should get a reboot and why? So I don't necessarily think right now I'd want any show to get a reboot just because how poorly Cartoon Network has handled reboots of late. Ben 10, Powerpuff Girls, Teen Titans Go, to name a few. But Tom Ashing's at the helm now. Maybe it would be different if he rebooted something. But out of any show, I feel like the Hanna-Barbera shows, pretty much majority of them can use new iterations. Because Hanna-Barbera, like Scooby-Doo, every like 3-4 years we get kind of a reboot of it. So yeah, any of the Hanna-Barbera shows, they could be rebooted because it's been so long since a lot of those characters have seen the light of day at all. As for Cartoon Network, I think I'd stay away from reboots for now. Pietro asks 3 questions. I'm not going to read all of them out, but for your first question, I've only seen 2 of them, Omnitricked and The Universe, and I did not like The Universe movie. Omnitricked I thought was a good idea conceptually, so I'd probably Omnitricked. Do I think Man of Action will reboot Generator X if the special does well? I think that is a possibility. I honestly do think that this is kind of like a backdoor pilot for a potential Generator X reboot where he's younger, I guess. It would be interesting to see. I hope it be more so of a serialized format where every single episode is 22 minutes long and every single episode ties into the next plot wise, but that remains to be seen if they would even do that with Generator X based on how the Ben 10 reboot has gone. And Cartoonito, will I review it when it comes out? I'm probably not going to watch any of the shows on it, but I will definitely be talking about it when it comes out. Ben asks, do you think Dragon Ball Super will ever come back? Super itself, I think, is over. The show Dragon Ball Super, done. But I do think Dragon Ball will come back in a new form. I've heard a lot of people call the next show Dragon Ball Ultra. Maybe that will be the name for it, but I do think Dragon Ball will come back. Personally, I want them to stick to the movies for a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of Super. I liked it, but I don't think it lives up to Dragon Ball Z. So I would like them to stick to movies for a little while and then go back to a show later on. But I do 100% think that we are getting a movie probably in the next 2 years, and I do think that we are also going to get a show eventually. I think we're definitely getting another show. The whole situation's very weird, though. I have a video on that if you want to hear me go in depth about that topic, though. Pinky Pool asks, do you think we will get a proper Ben 10 continuation after the reboot comes to an end? I certainly hope so. Do I think we will, though? It's very much up in the air. I don't know if you saw my video, but I have a video on Duncan Rolu speaking about the future of Ben 10 late last year. In that video, I said how it seems like he's not happy with what Cartoon Network wants the direction of Ben 10 to be, so maybe they want it to be on HBO Max now, or they want to split the franchise and have a reboot for kids and then make it a more serious franchise that Man of Action is working on. I don't know. I do think that eventually the original Ben 10 continuity will come back, but I don't know if after the reboot is when we get it. It could be 5 years down the line until we see a proper continuation to Ben 10. Fire Types Forever asks, hey DC Network, do you feel like Cartoon Network should quit making reboots altogether? From a fan's perspective, I wouldn't want to see them do any more reboots because of how they've handled the ones that they have done, but do I think they're going to stop? That's the question. I don't think reboots are going to stop. I think the thing with the whole media industry right now is everyone's heavy on nostalgia. Nostalgia sells. So if they see that a lot of people are talking about, I don't know, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, they're going to be like, okay, if people are talking about this show, we could bring it back and make some money off of it. So do I want them to stop? Yes, until they figure out how to properly reboot something or be true to the original. Do I think they're going to? No. Ziad, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, asks, could Cartoon Network bring back CN City? So here's the thing. As much as I love CN City, I don't think something like that would ever come back. The reason why is because networks just don't want to put money into bumpers anymore. They don't want to spend money on bumpers because obviously CN City compared to what we have now costs a lot more money. Reason why is, number one, a lot of people change the channel when bumpers are on or commercials are on. They just change the channel and watch something else. And number two, a lot of people just get up or do something else. Like, I know me personally, when there's commercials on TV, I usually go on my computer and I do something on my computer until the show comes back. So yeah, I don't think that anything like CN City will ever come back just because most people don't even sit there and watch the commercials. So why are they going to then spend a lot of money putting in these different episodes, basically like mini episodes of different Cartoon Network characters interacting with each other? Courtney asks, do you think Tom Ashley will add a block for the old CN kids? I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. I honestly think it would be great for 1 or 2 nights a week or maybe at a certain hour every day. They have old Cartoon Network shows playing. Like maybe it's like from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock every day before Adult Swim starts. Maybe they can have like, hey, every night of the week we're going to have different shows from the past decade or 2 decades at Cartoon Network. I think that would be something great to see. Cartoon Gal asks, do you think more Cartoon Network classics, even the obscure ones, should be added, or will be added rather, to HBO Max? Will they be added? I think eventually more and more will start to get there, but will everything be there? I don't know. I think it should be. I've talked about this topic many of times, but I think every single Cartoon Network original, if it had one fan or if it had thousands of fans, it should be on HBO Max. Tashawn asks, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, do you think Sym-Bionic Titan will ever return with the current direction that Cartoon Network is heading in? I think there is a possibility for it to come back. It just depends on, does the network want it, and then is Gendy willing to make it? All indications are that Gendy Tartakovsky would be willing to make a Sym-Bionic Titan Season 2, we could call it. But it depends on, what he has on his plate, how much he's working on at the moment, because we know he has Primal, we know he has Unicorn Warriors Eternal. We know he's working on 2 Sony movies in addition to Hotel Transylvania. So that seems like a lot. So I don't know if he necessarily has the time to do it right now, but do I think from a network perspective they would ever bring it back? I think it is possible. I do think it's definitely possible for Sym-Bionic Titan to come back. The problem is, I don't know how the network executives view it. Do they view it as having enough of a fan base to warrant them bringing it back? That I really don't know. I think it should come back. Do I think it eventually will? I think there's a good possibility it will. Flash Funk asks, what do you think about Jellystone and Space Jam A New Legacy? So, Space Jam A New Legacy I will definitely be seeing when it comes out. I will most likely have a video on it. I really like the original Space Jam, and I'm happy that they're doing another one all these years later. Jellystone, on the other hand, I know a little bit about it. I know it's made by the guy who made Chowder, and it's following a bunch of the Hanna-Barbera characters. It looks like a different style that personally probably isn't for me, but I do think that it's good to see that these Hanna-Barbera classics are actually being acknowledged by Warner Media. And for your second question, it says, do you think Galactic Kids Next Door will be greenlit by Cartoon Network and HBO Max? I talked about this a little bit earlier in the video, so I'm going to make it short. Eventually, I do think it will be on HBO Max. I 100% believe one day it will be. Anyways, that's it for Ask DC Network number 6. Thanks for all your great questions, and I'll see you guys next time.